Hello everyone, and welcome to the GTAC Tech Talk webinar on Genetec Security Center Mobile version 4.0 Installation and Configuration. Thank you for attending the webinar today. My name is Derek Schaefer. I'm a Technical Training e-Content Specialist with Genetec, and I'll be presenting the webinar for you today. Today we also have Jose Salazar with us from the Genetec Technical Assistance Center. Jose will be handling the questions and answers during the webinar. If you'd like to ask a question during the webinar, you can type it in the question box of the GoToWebinar console, and one of us will get back to you with an answer as soon as possible. In case we need to verify any information for your question, or if there's anything we need to double check for you, we're going to make a note of it, and we'll send you an email as soon as we have an answer for you. Now, all the questions and answers from the webinar will be posted on the GTAC Tech Talk section of the Genetec Technical Assistance Portal forums about a day or two after the webinar is finished, as well as links to the videos and a PDF version of the slide deck that we're going to be using today. If you have any additional questions or comments on the webinar or on the GTAC Tech Talk webinar series in general, you can post them in this section of the GTAP forum as well. All the GTAC Tech Talk webinars are recorded and can be watched at a later date in case you need to review the material or in case anybody from your company was not able to attend today. Now, there's two ways to watch the webinar: from the GTAP or the Genetec Technical Assistance Portal, or we can also watch them from the Genetec Training channel on YouTube. So from the GTAP, we just need to go to the Resources section and go to Videos. Then make sure we're on the GTAC Tech Talk section on the left here. And you can either stream the video or download it using one of the icons here. From YouTube, just search for the Genetec Training channel, and you can watch the video from the appropriate GTAC Tech Talk playlist, or you can find the webinar in the video section. Now, most of the GTAP videos have been uploaded here, so you can find operator training and how-to videos in multiple languages as well. To be made aware of any new videos that are posted, you can either turn on the video training checkbox in your GTAP notifications, or you can subscribe to the Genetec Training YouTube channel. Let's have a quick look at the agenda for the webinar before we dive into the technical information. Now, we're going to start out by taking a look at what GSC Mobile is, what it can do, who can connect to it, and what are the requirements that are needed. Next, we're going to go into a brief description of the server installation, and then we're going to move on to the server configuration, including the general setup, the encryption, specific device configuration, and take a look at the mobile streaming capability as well. We're going to see what we can monitor from the server after that, including notifications and functions that we can do. Finally, we'll take a look at the mobile app configuration and use, and how to connect using the web client software. Now, during the presentation, you're going to see this sidebar on the right-hand side here. And this is basically going to indicate what section we're in particular. So if you do need to jump back and watch the video at any point and just want to look up a specific section like the mobile app configuration, then you can just fast forward until you see that the marker is on this particular section, and it's an easy way to navigate and get around. Alright, so let's start out by taking a general look at what GSC Mobile is and what it can do. The Genetec Security Center mobile server is used as a connection point between your mobile devices and web clients and your main security center system. This gives you access to view cameras, doors, alarms, and other entities without having to be in front of your security desk workstation, no matter where you are. You can also perform actions such as streaming video back from your mobile device, unlocking doors to allow access, and creating bookmarks on important video. Taking a look at this diagram for the connections, we have our main security center system here. The cameras, doors, alarms, and other entities are all managed by the Security Center system. Connected to the system is our Security Center mobile server. For smaller systems, this can actually be run on the same machine as the directory, but usually we recommend running it on its own server. Now, the mobile server takes care of any communication and video streams between the Security Center server and the mobile devices or the web clients. The GSC Mobile app can run on several types of Apple, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Phone devices. We'll take a look at what each one can do and what kind of hardware we need in just a minute. We can use the web client to connect using a PC or laptop, or a tablet that is capable of running a supported web browser, like an Apple iPad or Microsoft Surface. Now down here we can also have another Security Center or an Omnicast system that is federated to our current system, and we can view the federated cameras and doors from our client devices as well. So let's take a look at the apps first, what they can do, and what hardware and software they can run on. Starting with Apple devices, we can run the app on any iPhone, iPod Touch, or iPad device that is on iOS version 6, 7, and 8. Looking at the app on the Apple device, we can view live and recorded video, control PTZ cameras, take snapshots from the camera that you're viewing, and we can add bookmarks as well. On an iPad, we also have the ability to view up to 6 cameras at the same time. We can also stream video from the camera on the mobile device back to Security Center, or the iPhone, excuse me. Now, as well, we can view doors, access control events, and perform actions on them as well, such as viewing associated cameras, unlocking the door, or putting the door in maintenance mode. Finally, we can receive alarms, view associated video from the alarm, and we can perform alarm acknowledgements as well. Moving over to our Android devices, our hardware will need to be running on one of the following Android OS versions here. And in the Android app, we can view live and recorded video, control PTZ cameras, take snapshots, and add bookmarks as well. On the Android app, we can also stream video back to Security Center from the device's camera. We can view and unlock doors, and unlock a door for maintenance just like the Apple app. Now, viewing and acknowledging alarms is handled in the same way on the Android devices as well. Now, for BlackBerry devices, the new mobile server can still connect to the previous version of the BlackBerry app, but a new app is not currently available. We also have a preview app for Windows Phone devices, and they're running the Windows Phone 8.1 operating system. The app can also be downloaded to a PC running Windows 8.1, but in most cases we would just use the web client instead. Now, this is a limited preview release of the app with only the ability to view live video, and we can now stream video back from the device camera as well, which is a new feature. We're going to switch over and take a look at the web client at this point. The web client has really been given an overhaul for version 4.0. If you're familiar with the previous version of the web client, you may notice an option or two is missing. Now, while optimizing the software, we've taken out some options that were not being used, taking up space and making things a little bit more complicated. So things like the ability to configure access rules or configuring users were more suited to being done on the main system using the full config tool client application, and were trimmed from the web client software. You can run the web client from a PC or laptop with a minimum screen resolution of 1024 by 768 using one of the following operating systems here. On Windows machines, we can use Microsoft Internet Explorer version 10 or 11, Mozilla Firefox, or Google Chrome. We can also use the Apple Safari browser on a machine running Mac OS X version 10.9.1. And on tablets, we can use an Apple iPad on iOS version 7 or 8, an Android tablet on one of the following versions here, and we can use a Windows Surface running Windows RT 8.1 or full Windows 8.1. Now, the iPad devices can use the Apple Safari for mobile, Google Chrome on the Android devices, and Microsoft Internet Explorer version 11 for the Surface devices. Now, one last thing I want to cover about how GSC Mobile works before we get into the installation is how information is transferred to the web client and mobile devices. When video is requested from a camera, the Security Center server sends the stream to the mobile server, which converts it into a format that can be viewed by the devices. The stream is being sent in MJPEG format and will try to attain 15 frames per second. Now, this may not be possible depending on the bandwidth and the device's CPU strength. The camera resolution and video quality will have an impact on the number of streams that can be sent as well, and the bandwidth that is taken up by the individual stream. Communication can be done over a Wi-Fi network or a cellular network as well. To make sure we don't stream over our cell plan in case we have limited data capacity, we can turn off cellular streaming in the mobile app. Now, for alarms, we use push notifications which go through servers that are generally outside of our network. The only exception is for BlackBerry devices, where we would need to have a BES or a BlackBerry Enterprise server that needs to be set up to handle the notifications. For a full list of the ports that need to be open on the network firewall for all communication to go through, take a look at the mobile installation and administration guide. Or as well, you can just search for mobile firewall in the technical information site, and that should bring up the ports for you right there in that article. Alright, now that we know what we're doing, what we're setting up here, let's take a look at the core component first, which is the mobile server. GSC Mobile 4.0 was designed to work with Security Center 5.3. If you're using a version of Security Center that is lower than that, you'll need to still use the version 3.2 of the mobile software. The hardware requirements on the mobile server are the same as for Security Center 5.3, and a high-end mobile server can handle a maximum of 50 mobile app and or web client connections at any time. So that's 50 in total, not 50 of each. If we know that we're going to have more connections than that, we're going to need to install multiple mobile servers for the same Security Center system. Now, when considering which machine to use, please note that a mobile server that will be streaming more than 10 cameras at the same time should have a separate machine for itself. So if we know we're never going to be using 10 or more, then we can install the mobile server on the directory server. But we're going to have to check the requirements and make sure it does meet the high performance standards here. Again, you can find this in one of the documents, or you can find it on the technical information site as well. Now, in terms of the operating system for the server, we can run the mobile server on a professional or ultimate version of Windows 7 or 8. Standard or enterprise version of Windows Server 2003 and 2008, or the standard or standard R2 version of Windows Server 2012. Now, to actually configure the mobile server, we can do that through the mobile admin, which we connect to through a web browser, very similar to the server admin in Security Center. And that can be reached through Microsoft Internet Explorer 10 and 11. We can use Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, or we can use Apple Safari as well. Now, we mentioned previously in the diagram that we can view cameras from a federated Omnicast video system. If we are going to be doing that, the first thing we're going to need to do is install the compatibility pack for the appropriate Omnicast version on the machine we're going to be using as our mobile server. Now, there's a bunch of places you can find them. You can go into the system management section on the GTAP, under Product Download, and you can search for the Security Center 5.3 software, and then you'll see the compatibility packs here. So just download the one that's appropriate for the version of Omnicast that you're using. They should also be available in the mobile installation package in the compatibility packs folder. And we'll see in a second when we run the installer setup that we do actually have a folder for the compatibility packs here, so that's pretty convenient. Now, if our sales or customer service team had to modify your license to add mobile servers, mobile devices, web clients, or additional cameras for mobile streaming, don't forget to go into the server admin and update your license. So you can simply download a new license key from the GTAP, and then you just need to do a manual activation and apply it in the server admin, and then you should see the new or updated options right after that. The installation of the software itself is fairly simple. You just need to run the setup.exe as an administrator from the mobile installation package. Choose the mobile server option and just accept the license agreement. After reading it, of course. Now, we only have one configuration screen to deal with, and that concerns the mobile admin port. Now, this is the port that we're going to use to connect to the configuration page of the Security Center mobile server. So by default, it's set to port 443, which encrypts the communication between the admin page and the mobile server. Now, we need to use HTTPS in the URL to reach the admin page if we use this port. If we do change it to a different port, it will not encrypt the communication, but this will not affect other encryption on the mobile server, such as between the server and the web clients or mobile apps. When installing GSC Mobile, a self-signed certificate is installed automatically, which is not a valid SSL certificate, and it's really only used for testing purposes. We'll take a look at encryption a little bit later on, but to fully secure the system, a valid X509 SSL certificate really should be installed on the server. These can be obtained from various third-party companies. Instructions for installing the certificate should be included by the provider, or you can take a look in the Installation Administration Guide for a step-by-step process on certificate installation. Now, this certificate should be installed on any machine that's going to be used as a mobile server. Now, once it goes through everything and the installation is complete, we can just hit the Finish button here and we should be good to go. If you have installed the mobile server on a Windows Server 2012 machine, we're going to need to go into the Services and restart the Genetec mobile server service. Now, in case we have a lot of connections and we need to install multiple servers, we should install the mobile server software on those servers as well. Now, each server should have its own public IP address, and we need to make sure the ports are open on the firewalls active on each machine. GSC Mobile doesn't handle load balancing, so each web client or mobile app that we have running has to be assigned to connect to a specific server. And we'll have to set up each server individually using its own mobile admin configuration page. If we do have a lot of servers to do, we can install the mobile server software in silent mode using a command line, but just for the sake of time, we're going to skip those steps today, but you can find them in the installation and administration guide, and really anything with the command line, you're going to want to have that guide open in front of you anyways. Okay, we're going to move on to the server configuration at this point. This will need to be done on any machine that has the mobile server software installed on it. All the configuration for the server is done through the mobile admin webpage. To get to the mobile admin, open a supported browser and enter the server's IP address or hostname in the address bar, followed by /GSC Mobile Admin. Now, if we did use the default port of 443 in the installation, we'll have to put HTTPS in the address. Otherwise, we can use HTTP. And in case we're not using port 443 or port 80, we'll also need to put the port after the IP address in the host name as well, like in this example right here. Now, if we're using the self-signed certificate for encryption, the browser may give you some kind of warning like this, that the site is not secure, so just choose the option to continue to the website. In case we get a message like service unavailable, HTTP error 503, we may be using secure communications, but we only put HTTP in the URL. So in this case, just try using HTTPS instead. This could be the reverse as well, so if you put HTTPS, it could be HTTP, so just try the opposite of whichever one you have in there. Once it connects, this is going to bring us to the login page. The default username is admin with no password, which we're going to take a look at in a second how to change that. And we can also change the interface language from here if we need to. Now, the first thing we should do is select the mobile server administration option in the configuration section of the homepage and change the password for the admin username, or we can choose a different username as well. Now, from here we can also change the port used to sign on to the mobile admin, and if we want to use secure communications here as well, so we could actually uncheck that. The language option is used to select which language to store the activities and events logged by the server. This will affect the descriptions and the reports that we're going to see a little bit later on. Now, the next step is to set up our Security Center server that our mobile server will be connecting to. So we can go back to the home page by clicking on the Security Center logo on the top, or there actually is a home button there too, and choose the Security Center option from the configuration section. In the directory field, put the IP address or host name of the directory server. The password field here should contain the password for the Security Center admin account. So this isn't the same as the mobile server admin account, it's the one for the admin on Security Center, the admin user. So just remember to change this field if you ever need to update the admin password on your directory server. Now, the port here is the one used to connect to Security Center, which is 5500 by default. You'll only need to change this if you modify the incoming connection port in the server admin. Now, if it can reach the Security Center system, after a minute or two the state should change to connected here. Otherwise it will give you a message telling you why it can't connect. And we're going to move on to the SSL certificate that we talked about before. And if we did install one on the server, we need to go in and make sure that it is active. So from going back to the mobile admin homepage, click on the SSL certificates option here. That's again under the configuration section. And when it brings up the page, it's going to list any certificates that have been installed on the server. Now, if we've installed the mobile server on the same machine as the Security Center server, like I did in my example here, we may see this REST SDK certificate here as well. Now, in case we haven't installed any other certificate, make sure the Genetec Mobile Test certificate is the one that's highlighted here. If we install the third-party certificate, we should see it listed in the options here as well. So we can just click on it to select it, and then just hit the apply button to save the change. Another convenient thing is that the page will also list any ports that are using HTTPS here as well. Alright, so that's the basic setup for the mobile server. So now let's have a look at the devices that we'll be connecting and what we need to configure from here. Let's start with the web client by going into the web client administration section. The first thing we want to do is select if we want the web clients to be able to connect at all. So this is enabled by default, but we can uncheck it to only allow mobile apps to connect if we need to. Okay, so as well, we're using the port 443 for secure communication. So we can change that port here if we need to. And we can also state if we want to use HTTPS or secure communication. Below that here will show the state of the port, and it will give us a sample test link that we can try. So web client users should be able to connect using the same link. In my case, I actually connected using localhost to get to the mobile admin since I was on the same machine. So just make sure that the web client users use the actual IP address or the host name of the server in the address here. Now from the same screen in the options below here, we can select a logo to appear on the web client pages. We can choose the maximum number of results to report here. This can go up to 2,000, and we can select the session timeout in minutes. Now the mobile admin session timeout is 20 minutes, but this option here is the timeout for the web client sections. Now we're going to configure the connection settings for the mobile apps in general next, and then look at anything specific we need to do for any particular mobile devices. Going back to the home page, we need to select the mobile connectivity section from the configuration section. Like we did for the web client connections, we can enable or disable the ability to connect with a mobile app from here. We select the main port to use here next, which is what is being used by the mobile app to connect to the server. We'll need to use this in the mobile app configuration, so make a note of the default 8100 here, or if you need to use a different port, make a note of whatever you've changed it to. Now we're going to look at the video settings in just a few minutes, where we can choose to encrypt video streams. If we're not encrypting video, we will have the option of turning off SSL encryption for the mobile apps. Below that we have the state of the port, the state of the SSL encryption, and once again a test link to check the port on the machine. Now if we're using the self-signed certificate, getting a warning on the SSL state is normal, since it's only used for testing and it's not a valid SSL certificate. Like we had for the web client, we can set up the session timeout. This time it's in seconds instead of minutes. And we can also choose to force a password check when the app is logged on. Now if you do have this option enabled, this is going to block any mobile apps that are on version 3.0 or lower due to version compatibility. Now for Apple, Android, and BlackBerry devices, we need to enable push notifications if we want to send alarms to the mobile devices. Each one has their own push notification section and a server to connect to. So in this case I'm in the Android version here. So we can select the manufacturer like the Android one and choose the enable option for push notifications to be sent. And it's also going to list the ports in use for each one. Now for Apple push notifications, we do require a certificate, but that's maintained by Genetec. So about a month before the certificate expires, the mobile server will try to get a new certificate from downloads.genetec.com. If you get any kind of expiration message, make sure your mobile server can reach this website to get the new certificate. The setup is slightly different for BlackBerry since we need to have our own BlackBerry Enterprise server set up. In the BlackBerry section, it will ask for the server address and the port as well. Now the last two sections of the server configuration I want to take a look at are for video streaming, both to and from the server. To configure the video coming from the mobile server and going to the web clients and mobile apps, we need to look in the video settings section here. Now the first thing we can configure is the port here, and that's going to be the one used to stream video, and we can select if we want to encrypt the video streaming port and if IPv6 should be enabled. Now the use of IPv6 depends on your network equipment and on the operating system used. If we're using Windows Server 2003, we won't even see this option. As we've seen on other configuration pages, we can see the state of the connection, and we have a link to test the port as well. Now below the connection settings, we have the actual video settings here. From here we can set how long video will play in a tile before stopping. We can limit the number of concurrent video streams that can be played, and we can restrict the resolution and the frame rate as well. Now the new resolution that we select here, it's only going to be used if the original video is larger than the resolution that we set. So for example, if we have the resize value set to 640 by 480 like we have here, and we have two video streams, the first one at 320 by 240 and the second one at 800 by 600, the first stream will be displayed at 320 by 240 and the second stream will be resized to 640 by 480. Now when we're viewing recorded video, we use the controls to jump forward and backward in the video. We can set here the playback seek time to how many seconds it will move the playback marker. We can also choose not to restrict how long video can play, and the number of maximum number of video streams as well. Oh, sorry, right there. Now if we're using a cellular connection, we need to be careful of removing the video streaming restriction, as we may run up a very high bill on our mobile device. Putting no limit on the number of connections won't cost us anything, but having a lot of connections at the same time may affect the CPU performance and the quality of the video that's sent. From the web client, we're able to export video. From the video configuration page, we can set how long the video will stay on the mobile server, how many video exports can be running at the same time, and the maximum length of an exported file. Okay, so now that the outgoing video has been configured, let's take a look at incoming video. Apple and Android phone apps can stream video from the phone's camera back to Security Center. This option is also available in the new Windows Phone Preview app. Now using video streaming, security personnel can stream video from a live event and have it recorded in Security Center on an archiver, making it available even if their mobile device is not. To set up mobile streaming, we need to create a number of open ports that are linked to cameras in Security Center, and then the mobile phones can be associated to those ports. Since we're using cameras for these ports in Security Center, each mobile stream will use up one camera license, so we'll just need to make sure that we have enough there. The first thing we need to set up is the mobile streaming settings from the mobile admin. Since we may have multiple mobile servers connecting to one Security Center system, we need a way of identifying each one. We use the server instance field for that, and each server should be given its own unique number. Changing that number will disconnect any connected devices, and they will have to be reconfigured. The starting port number here is the HTTP port that will be used when adding our mobile device to Security Center. The number of ports is the total number of devices or cameras that you will be using, and will define the range based on the starting port number. So for example, looking on the right here, if we use our default starting port of 9500, and we put 5 in the number of ports like we have here, we'll have a range of 9500 to 9504. Now we can increase this value later on if we want to add more devices, but if you decrease it, it's going to kick off any devices that have been assigned ports outside of the new range. Our second step is to configure these ports in Security Center. So we're going to open our config tool, and we're going to start a video task here. Then at the bottom we're going to click on the add video unit button here, and we're going to select the archiver that will be storing video for the mobile cameras first. Oh, sorry, that's it down here. Now under the manufacturer, make sure we have the Genetec protocol selected, and we need to have all for the product type. We need to enter the IP address of the mobile server in the IP address field. And for here, the HTTP port, you could either just leave it as a single one and add them all individually, but an easier thing to do, since we have defined a range in the mobile admin, is just to hit the plus here, and you'll be able to set a range for the HTTP ports. So in our example, we had 5 ports. Our range was 9500 to 9504. So that's what we can put right here in the add a video unit box here. Make sure we're using default logon for authentication, and then just click on add or add and close to create the units. Once it's gone through everything, it's going to create unassigned cameras here, and it's going to stay unassigned until a mobile device tries to stream video to it. Now as well, don't forget to configure the recording tab for the camera or the archiver to save video from the mobile device. We should be using continuous recording on an always schedule. Now if we switch over to the mobile app on the device, we just need to go into the streaming mode and start recording. So as soon as we do this, it will choose the lowest unassigned port number for the device. So just as an example, on an Android device, we need to tap on the menu key, and then we choose stream video from here. We can also change the resolution to low, medium, or high. And we can also, sorry, there's the resolution button here. And we can also turn on the LED light to give yourself more illumination. If you want to start streaming video back to Security Center, just click on the record button. On an iPhone, it's very similar. You just need to go into the favorites, and then you go into the start video capture. You can use the options button to change the resolution from low, medium, or high again. And then we can tap the flash button here to turn the light on or off. And once again, we do have the record button to start streaming. Now if you want to use the streaming function on the Windows Phone mobile app preview, you'll need to download and configure the GSC Mobile camera app first. The configuration is very straightforward, and you just need to put in the server and login information. To do this, just take a look at the steps in the installation and administration guide if you need more help with that. Once the video has been recorded, it can easily be played back on the security desk or any other client application. So that means if your guard sees something and he has his phone with him, he can record that, stream it back to the archiver, and then somebody can view that right from the web client as soon as it's recorded, or from a security desk if you have a dedicated team. Now one last configuration topic I'd like to mention is about the Security Center users who will be using mobile connections. So for any user who's going to be logging in, we need to go into the user management task, select the user, and then go into the privileges tab. Now from here, depending on what they're doing, we need to have the web client, the mobile application, and the alarm monitoring privileges all set to allow if they want to use those features. Now the rest of the privileges are applicable as well, but these ones are specifically needed to access the mobile app and the web client or alarms as well. If we make any changes while the user is logged in, they're going to have to log off and back on for the new privilege changes to take effect. Now we're going to see in just a minute how we can force someone to log off as well, in case we do have someone who has it allowed and we wish to change it to a deny. Okay, so we're going to take a look at a few things that we can monitor and functions that we can do from the server using the mobile admin. Now the first thing we can check from the monitoring section is the ports that are in use. If we click on the ports from the home page, we'll get a list of all the ports used, including any that we have set up for mobile streaming. We can see if they're encrypted using HTTPS. We can see the folder used for the application and the state of the port as well. Now if you click on any port name, it's going to take you to the section where that port is configured, making any modifications to the ports here very easy. If you'd like to see any mobile app or web client sessions that are active, click on the Mobile App Sessions or the Web Client Sessions button in the Monitoring section. From here we can see which user accounts are logged in. In this case we have the admin logged in, and how many sessions we have open for each user account. So this is where if we need to log somebody off by force, we can click on the Force Log Off button right here next to the user account. Now these pages are showing the devices associated to a user, but if we want to see a list of all devices, we just need to go to the Mobile Devices section. From here we can see the name of the device, the user that's logged on, right there, and other information such as the model and the client version here as well. Now this is going to show all devices that have connected to the mobile server, not just the ones that are currently logged in. So if we know a device has been replaced or will no longer be used to connect to the mobile server, we can click on the Delete button next to it to remove it from the list. In case we lose a device, but it may be recoverable, we would want to stop any unauthorized access to the system from that device temporarily. To do that, we just click on the Restrict button to temporarily block the device. We can see a list of devices that have been temporarily blocked by going into the Restricted Devices section, and what we can do from here is we can click on the Allow button next to the device once it's been recovered. A few other important sections are for monitoring which cameras are being viewed and which doors as well. So we can click on videos or doors on those sections from the home page to see the appropriate list of entities and the clients that are viewing them. The video section also has information such as the frames per second received and sent, the video resolution, and the video rate in kilobytes per second. We can also go into the mobile streaming section to see the stats for any devices that are sending video to Security Center and the port used by that device. This section will also give us the frames per second and kilobytes per second, as well as tell us if it's actively streaming at the moment. In case we will no longer be using a device to stream to Security Center, we can free up the port it's using from here as well. Just click on the Unassigned Device button next to the port we want to free up, and another device can connect and will be assigned to that port. Now one last important section in the monitoring category is the exported video files. So from here we can see which files were exported using the web client, the user who requested the export, the state of the export, and other information. If an export is in process, we can cancel it from here, and we can also choose to delete exported files from here as well, which frees up space on the mobile server. Alright, so now that we have everything set up on the server and can monitor anything we need, let's move on to the mobile apps and see how we can set them up and use them. The app can be found on each device's app store by searching for Genetec or Security Center. For some devices, we have a preview version available at the moment, which only contains a subset of the features for now. If you have an Android phone, you have access to both the current 4.0 version and the preview version here as well, which gives you the multi-tile feature for tablets, but it does limit the video access control and alarm features. We're going to be looking at the current versions of the app for Apple and Android today, which are basically the most popular and the most commonly used apps. For the following screens, we're going to be using an iPad and a Google Nexus device for the demonstration screenshots. So once we start the app, the first thing we need to do is set up the connection to the mobile server. On the iPad, just tap the I next to the server name to get to the options screen, or the gears icon from the Android app. From here, we need to give the configuration a name, which allows us to configure connections to multiple servers on one device, and select them from the logon screen using that name. Put the IP address or host name in the server field, as well as the port in use, which is usually 8100. Enter the username and password for the Security Center user logging in, and from the toggle switches we can select if we want to connect using HTTPS, if we want to use cellular data or only Wi-Fi, and if we want alarms to be pushed to our mobile device. You can just tap on Save to store the configuration, and that should now be available from the logon screen. In case we do have multiple configurations set up, just tap on the configuration name to bring up a list of all configurations, and you can select one from here. We can also tap on the Add New Mobile Server to configure a new server, to create a new configuration. So that's from the Apple app, or just tap on the menu button and hit Add here for the Android app. Now once we log on, let's have a look at a few of the things that we can do here. Of course, our primary purpose for using the mobile app will be to view and review video. From the Apple app on an iPhone, just tap on the Entities button and then tap on a camera to view. On the iPad, we will have the ability to view any number of tiles up to 6. So you need to tap on a tile here, and then tap on the eye icon here, and then we can choose the Entities section and choose a camera to bring up here. On the Android app, it's basically the same as the iPhone. So basically we just tap on the Entities button here and we can select a camera. Now on any app, if the camera you're looking for isn't an area, we can just tap on the area to get to the entities within it. If we can connect using the mobile app but we cannot see video, the first thing we'll want to do is check the port used in the video connectivity section of the mobile admin and make sure that's unblocked on your network. Now from an iPad we do have a few additional controls. So you just select a tile, tap on it to select it, and we do have other things like maximizing the tile to take up the full screen, or we can actually clear the camera from a tile using this button right here. If the camera has PTZ controls, we just need to tap the PTZ button to activate them. Here it is on both devices. And then we can use various gestures like pinching the screen to zoom in and out, and we can swipe or tap on the screen to reposition the camera. We can tap the presets button on the Apple app to flip the camera image or select a PTZ preset, or go to the home position as well. We do the same on the Android app, but we have to hit the menu button here, and then we can choose flip or preset, and if we click on or tap on preset, we're going to get a list of the presets here. We can also take snapshots of video by tapping on the snapshot button on the Apple app, which is under the menu options on the Android app. So open our menu here and we can click on Take Snapshot. Adding bookmarks is also found in the same location, and it will ask for a bookmark description. The camera will start recording if it has not been already, and the bookmark will be accessible from any Security Center client application. If we want to view recorded video, we can either use the jump back buttons here, a little ghosted out here, which will jump back in the amount of time that we had configured in the mobile admin, which by default is 15 seconds. Or we can also click on the calendar button and select a date and time. Both of these features work the same on Apple and Android. Once we're actually in playback mode, we can choose to jump backward or forward in the video. We can choose to play the video or pause the video or play it. And we can also jump back to live video here as well. We can view doors the same way as we select cameras, so we just click on the door, but we do have a few more controls. If we want to manually unlock a door, we can just need to tap on the door icon right here. Clicking on cameras or change camera buttons here, we can basically change the associated cameras that we're viewing for that particular door. Now if we want to just do stuff with the door, we just want to view the door, we can conserve bandwidth here as well by choosing the Do Not Display a Camera option. Now to put the door into maintenance mode, we just need to tap on the override button. And then from here we're in maintenance mode, we just hit the apply. Same for both. And if we want to temporarily override a door's unlock schedule, once again we tap on override, but this time we choose the temporary override option, which is the right one on both ones here. Now we choose if we want the door to be locked or unlocked, and we choose for how long, which is either a relative time starting from the time we apply it, or it can be an absolute time with a static beginning and end date and time. Now viewing a door in a tile will also give us the major access control events that come from Security Center as well, such as our door forced open, access granted and denied, and if we get any hardware tampers as well. If we have configured our mobile app to receive alarms, any alarms that are pushed to the mobile device will show up either in the mobile icon, the notification bar on top, the alarms tab, or in the brackets of the title bar for the iPad. So to get to the alarms, we just need to choose the alarms section from the home screen, and this allows us to view the active alarms. Currently, it usually should look like this. You shouldn't have any active. Acknowledged alarms are not listed. They don't show up here, so it's only pushing over the active ones. So from here we can choose to acknowledge all alarms, we can view the details for an alarm, or we can manually acknowledge it as well. Okay, the last feature I'd like to discuss is the ability to save your frequently viewed entities as favorites. So on an iPad, just tap on the star next to an entity name, and that will save it into your favorites. On an iPhone, we can tap the Entities button and then tap on the star icon as well. For removing it, you just need to do the reverse, so just tap on the star to basically unselect it. The Android app is a little bit different, so what we need to do is tap and hold on the entity in the Entities list until we get a pop-up, and from there we can choose to add to favorites. In this case, we removed the entity, so we just tapped on the star to unhighlight it. And for the Android app, once again, just go into the favorites section, tap and hold on the entity that you want to remove, and choose the Remove from Favorites option. We can use the favorites list to quickly bring up our most commonly used cameras, doors, and areas. So if you do have a lot, but you're only going to be using a few of them on your mobile device, this is a very good way to organize that. Alright, we're going to move on to our last section, which is on the new and improved 4.0 web client, which is where you're going to see the majority of the changes that have been made to GSC Mobile. Our development team gathered a lot of feedback on the web client application, which this is the original one here on the side. I believe this is 3.1 actually. And one of the issues we had was just the total number of options here. So some options were included that were never used or were basically just taking up space. So in an effort to make a more streamlined and optimized web client, the less popular or useful features were removed. The primary functions like viewing video and unlocking doors were left in place, but you'll notice some things like user and door configuration have been removed. These are basically tasks that our clients are more likely to do with the full config tool application anyways. Now we're going to talk about how to connect and then how to perform some of the basic functions. So logging on is very easy, so we just need to open a supported web browser, type in the IP address or the host name of the server here, and then we just need to put a slash and web client. Now if we're using secure communication with an SSL certificate, we'll need to make sure we use the HTTPS in the URL instead of the standard HTTP. And we can use the following parameter here if we want to specify the language to use. This can also be done from the login page as well. Now, as we mentioned before, if we do see that service unavailable HTTP error 503 message, just try to add or remove the S from the HTTP in the URL for secure communications. So once we enter our credentials here and we click on log on here, we're going to get to the home page. To log off, we just need to click on the log off button on the top right of the page. And as you can see, the new interface is a lot more streamlined and a lot easier to get to what you want to see. So we're going to take a look at the monitoring task first. From here we have our familiar area view on the left here, showing our cameras, doors, and our areas as well. And we have our tile canvas in the middle here, and our widgets on the right. If we want to change the tile layout in the canvas, we can use one of the options below here. And to give us more real estate, we can hide the area view or the widget bar using the arrows on the bottom on either side. To view a camera, either click and drag it into a tile, or we can select the entity and click on the add button, and this is going to add it to the next available tile. With the tile selected, we can see our traditional widget controls for a camera and tile. So to be able to jump back in recorded video, select which video to view, we can add a bookmark, and we can export video as well. From the tile widget, we can clear the camera that's in the tile as well, or we can expand it to take up the whole screen. Once it is expanded, it will change to the collapse option to bring it back to what we were looking at. If the camera has PTZ controls, we'll also have the PTZ widget, and with the direction controls and our presets here as well. The PTZ can also be controlled in the tile, so we can do our drag to zoom options. We just need to drag out a box, and it will center and zoom in on that section. Or we can also just tap or click on a section in the window, and it'll rotate the camera to center on that point. If we need to unlock a door from the web client, it does behave a little differently than the mobile apps. We just need to simply select a door from the area view, and below that you're going to see the door controls and the state come up here as well. So from here we can just click on unlock if it was locked already, and there's our state saying the door is already closed and it's already unlocked at the moment. Once we jump back to the home screen, we're going to take a look at any exported video files from the web client, and we view those by going to the Available Exported Video Files task. From here we can see which camera the video was exported from. We can see the start and end date and times here, the extension that was used for the export, the file size, and the state of the export as well. So the actual export, the window that pops up is pretty much exactly like you see in Security Center. It gives you the same options there. Now from here we can also choose to delete the exported video, or we can download it to our local machine from here. If we want to check on any bookmarks that have been added to the system, we can use the bookmarks reporting task, which we get to from the home screen as well. So from this task, we can choose the search criteria based on a particular set of cameras. We can choose the message text, and we can use the event timestamp as well. With the criteria selected that we have on the side here, just click on the Generate Report button, and that's going to bring up all the results on the right. Now this is going to show all the bookmarks on the system. It's not just the ones that were created from the web client application. If we select a bookmark, we can see additional controls above the list, where we can export the video from the bookmark, we can view the video associated with the bookmark, save the column layout, modify the column layout, we can print the report, and we can export the report. So just make a note, this is exporting the video and this is exporting the report. It's just a change in the icon here. We're going to jump back to the home page and go to our next task, which is the cardholder management. Now this is very similar to our cardholder management task in the security desk, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but from here we can basically add, delete, or modify cardholders, including any fields that we have in the cardholder's properties. The next task to look at is the door activities reporting task. This is where we can see any activities that have come in from any doors on the system. We can filter the results based on the set of doors, the cardholders, the credentials, the events, or the the events are here, or the time and date for the event as well. Once again, we can use a relative, or we can set a start and end date as well. And once again, we just click on the Generate Report button to see the list of results, and we have the same options on top as we had before for exporting video, viewing associated video, and any report and list management here. From our access control task, we can choose to add, delete, or modify cardholder groups, or modify or delete credentials. Now we can switch between the two types by moving the mouse over the icon right here, and then choosing the opposite section. So if we want to modify credentials, we just hover here, this will pop down, click on it to go to credentials, and do the same thing to switch back to cardholder groups. Now, note that we can add or remove any existing access rules from the groups or credentials, but we need to use the config tool to add any new access rules or to make any changes to the rules themselves. This was another option where it was just found that it wasn't being used from the web client. Now our last task from the home screen is the alarm report, where we can view any alarms on the system, and we can also filter them based on various criteria, like the alarm name, the acknowledgement type, or the date and time when it was triggered. We have the same options for this report as we did for the other two reporting tasks up top here. Okay, so that's the last section, and that should give you a good idea of how to set up the mobile server, the apps, and the web client as well, and what you can do with them. So that's we're done for the webinar for today. What I'm going to do is leave the session active for about another 10 minutes, just to handle any remaining questions. If you do have any still on your mind, you can just type them in now, and Jose and I will take a look at them. As well, if you do have any questions after the webinar, you can put those in the GTAP forum and we'll take a look there. Tomorrow we're going to have the links up for the videos, so for the YouTube channel as well. The video will show up there, and we'll put the common questions and answers there on the forum, and the link to the PDF slides as well. So I'd like to thank you very much for attending today on behalf of myself and the Genetec Technical Assistance Center, and we hope that you all have a great day. Thank you.